this country and the rights of normal people who live here. At the University of Nebraska, for example, an English professor called Amanda Gailey took time off to stalk NRA employee Chris Cox to his family home in Alexandria, Virginia, where he lives with his wife and small children. Gailey staged a protest outside of Cox's house. She had a sign that read, quote, "Chris Cox profits off dead kids," outside his house. She also showed up at Cox's wife's business to demand a boycott on the street outside. We reached out to the University of Nebraska. They gave a cowardly and meaningless response, essentially saying, "We don't know anything about that. We don't care. It's not our business." Jason Nichols is professor at the University of Maryland. He joins us tonight. So, Professor, is this okay? Is it okay to decide that because you disagree with someone, you can show up at his house and scream at his wife and kids?
Is it okay to stage a protest? Absolutely.
At someone's home?
I think it's okay
with his kids there.
To protest. Obviously, she was not there for any kind of conflict. He's a member of the NRA. I'm assuming he's armed.
Well, I'm a member. Okay.
I'm assuming she wasn't armed.
Wait, it's not a matter about being armed.
Okay,
I hope that we're not suggesting it's going to get to gunplay.
Absolutely.
I'm asking a philosophical question.
Sure.
Which is, we disagree, for example. Would it be okay for me to give your home address out for our viewers who disagree with you to show up and talk to your kids about how much they disagree with you?
Well, if they want to protest something that they believe that I've
the answer, by the way, is no. That's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, you putting my address out
the whole thing
over the waves. But if you wanted to come directly and stand outside of my house with a sign and look like pretty much a jackass, that would be up to you.
How do you think your family would feel about that? If people with signs attacking you as a kid killer were screaming outside your house with your kids at home, how do you think they'd feel about
that? Again, I don't have many of the details on this.
Well,
I don't know how far of a distance she was away.
Right outside the house, Old Town Alexandria.
She was not on the doorstep. I know that, because then he could call the police.
Look, the principle here, I just want to make sure that I'm hearing this right. You're defending the idea, and again, we're not talking about rights here. She's a legal right to do that. You have a legal right to scream at nuns and to give the finger to elderly women if you want. You can do that. The question is, should you? Is it okay? Is it right? Do normal people, do decent people do that? And do you think it's okay to do this? I think it crosses a really clear line into indefensible behavior,
So, Tucker, if you're asking me, am I going to show up at some, right-wing politician's house and stand outside with a sign saying baby murder? No, I'm not going to do that. Do I think that person, what I'm talking about is her First Amendment right to protest?
You're forgetting that the left doesn't believe in the First Amendment anymore. That's why YouTube is demonetizing accounts it disagrees with. That's why Twitter kicks people off. Really, it's absurd.
That's absurd.
Look at the polling on it. The majority of college students believe the First Amendment is not absolute and it's less important than preserving the feelings of others. So the left does not believe in the First Amendment anymore. The polling shows it.
I disagree with that. I think, well, at least the people that I know are 100% open to people's rights to protest.
But that's not the question. It's not a matter. And by the way, there was someone arrested for vandalizing the house. It wasn't this Amanda
And that person deserved to be arrested.
Right. But is this the new precedent? We've gotten to a point where the left has decided the personal is political and vice versa. Therefore, there are no real limits. So, why wouldn't you scream at someone at a restaurant? Why wouldn't you yell at somebody's kids?
Yes, well, I think screaming at somebody at a restaurant, that's not legal. That's not a legal protest.
Well, actually, it is.
No, that's harassment. That's different. If you are across the street with a sign and you are staging a protest,
but why not do that?
I've seen it. I've seen protests.
I've seen a lot of protests.
Planned Parenthood.
I'm not against that.
I know you're not against that.
But if you showed up at somebody's house with his kids home, that is a threat. You know where the NRA headquarters is. Everybody does. It's right on Route 66 in Virginia. It's a massive building. You can go there whenever you want. But to find someone's house, can you just say unequivocally it's wrong?
No, I can say that I agree with you that is not the way that I would stage a protest. I believe absolutely they should have gone to the place of business. However,
why should we subsidize this crap? Why should taxpayers, both in the state of Nebraska,
they're not subsidizing her protest.
Of course they are. She gets paid $70,000 a year. She works very little, as you know, because no offense, she's a professor, and so I'm serious. She works. Compare the hours the average person in her position works compared to the average person in most other jobs, and it's a light load.
We're not subsidizing her protest. We're subsidizing whatever it is that she does at the university or college that she works at.
How about this?
Sure.
If this college professor, Amanda Gailey from the University of Nebraska, whom, again, the college, in a very cowardly way, refused to even comment on. But if she were out staging a protest in favor of the Confederate flag, and she were going up into, to the home of a Black Lives Matter member and waving the flag and screaming, would you say that's just freedom of expression and the college should not, get involved?
Again, as long as it wasn't a threat. Is she
Can
standing?
you sincerely say that if Milo Yiannopoulos had a teaching position at, I'm serious,
that would be a problem.
Oh, it would be a problem because you don't agree with them.
No, not because I don't agree with them. Because I don't think
that would be a problem.
Because he doesn't have the qualifications that it takes to teach.
Oh, the qualifications.
Tucker Carlson.
Do you know how many dumb people teach at colleges? Have you been to a college recently? No offense. I mean,
Tucker, if you want to teach at the University of Maryland, I will help get you that position.
That's honestly probably the last thing. I'm not qualified, as you know.
No, I believe you are. You can teach journalism in a sense.
If Milo Yiannopoulos, and I only use his name because I know he's so reviled on the left, but if he got the qualifications, whatever, some bunch of parchment or whatever, and got a job at a college and was leading his protest, you'd be totally cool with that.
If he was leading his protest from the...
Yeah, like on college campuses or in his spare time as a college professor.
So one of the things that we found that studies show is that and there was a study of 7,000 college students. It showed that the views of the professor have no effect.
I notice you're not affirming. I just want to note for the record, you're not affirming Milo's right to work at a college subsidized by taxpayers and espouse his views in public.
Tucker Carlson wants to come teach at the University of Maryland.
So good.
I will absolutely support that. You have the right to come.
What an interesting conversation, Professor. Thank you.
Absolutely,
so
always fun. Thank you.
Almost 2 years of searching has produced still no evidence, we're here to tell you, of collusion with Russia during the 2016 campaign. But the DNC has filed a lawsuit over it nonetheless. We'll explain why they did that coming up.